Part 16. 10,000 times return. I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 151. Su Xian, Kid. As soon as King Wuan entered the room, he pulled Su Xian aside in a hurry. Something has happened in the battlefield between the two realms. As one of the two kings who has the most hope of impacting the semi-god realm in Dragon Country, King Wuan has great power. Once there is any disturbance in the battlefield between the two realms, it will be reported to him at the first time. King Wuan didn't need to say much to Su Xian about the battlefield between the two realms, but he felt that this matter was a little strange. Su Xian took the initiative to ask if there was any news from the battlefield between the two realms a few days ago. As a result, something happened in the battlefield between the two realms just a few days later. He had to suspect that this matter was related to Su Xian, or more precisely, it was related to King Shuiyu. Su Xian's heart skipped a beat and he asked, "What happened?" King Wuan looked solemn and replied, "Just last night, a big change happened on the battlefield between the two worlds. A large number of undead creatures suddenly emerged from the depths of the Infinite Altar, one of the four forbidden areas, and attacked everywhere." "Undead creatures?" Su Xian asked, "Are they the undead race of Lulan Star?" "There are many races on Lulan Star. The undead race is one of the largest races on Lulan Star, and is also a member of the main war faction that advocates the capture of Blue Star." "Not the undead race." King Wuan shook his head. "Although they are undead creatures, they are not under the control of the undead race at all. They not only attacked our Blue Star army, but also showed no mercy to the Lulan Star army." "Did the Blue Star army suffer heavy damage?" Su Xian asked again. "No, the situation is under control for the time being." King Wuan paused. "It's just that this matter involves King Shuiyu, so I came to tell you." Su Xian frowned. "Are you saying that the appearance of those undead creatures is related to Su Ying?" King Wuan said seriously, "According to the information we have received so far, King Shuiyu broke into the depths of the Infinite Altar alone not long after entering the battlefield between the two worlds. Now that the Infinite Altar has seen this kind of change, it is very likely that she is involved." Seeing Su Xian's expression was not very good, King Wuan explained, "Of course, we are not doubting King Shuiyu's character. King Shuiyu's contribution to Dragon Country is obvious to all. If it weren't for her, Dingai Wangcheng and the Dual World Channel near Dingai Wangcheng would have been destroyed, which would be a disaster for the entire Dragon Country and even Blue Star. The official is very worried about the safety of King Shuiyu. If she is unfortunate." Speaking of this, King Wuan did not say anything more. The implication is already very clear. With this kind of change in the Endless Altar, King Shuiyu is in danger of falling. Su Xian was thinking a lot. He was not worried that Su Ying would get into trouble. The soul lamp was placed in the system space, and the light was bright and stable, which meant that Lin Su Ying was in a safe situation. Su Xian was worried that the appearance of those undead creatures was really related to Lin Su Ying. After all, a few days ago, the soul light intensity of the soul lamp suddenly increased a lot, and then this incident occurred, and Lin Su Ying happened to be at the scene of the incident. Too many coincidences are no longer coincidences. This matter is most likely related to Lin Su Ying. But Lin Su Ying could not deliberately harm Blue Star, maybe she had to do it. As for what the inside story is, Su Xian didn't know. We can only wait for the results of the Blue Star Alliance's investigation. Su Xian thought for a moment and said, "Please rest assured, King Wuan. Su Ying is fine for now. I have a special connection with her and can sense her life state. But I don't know the details of the matter. Please pay more attention to it. If there is any news about Su Ying, please tell me. Is King Shuiyu okay?" "Then I'm relieved." King Wuan knew that Su Xian and Lin Suying had a close relationship, and he didn't ask too much about the secrets between the two. Since King Shuiyu was safe and sound, he could put down the stone hanging in his heart. the official now attaches no less importance to King Shuiyu than him. Basically, he is being cultivated as a fifth-generation soul figure. I will notify you as soon as there is news about the battlefield between the two realms. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. King Wuan came and left in a hurry. The demigods were not there. Many things require King Wuan to preside over the overall situation, and he was busy and exhausted. Wait for King Wuan to leave. Su Xian immediately returned to the secret room and took out the soul lamp from the system space. Looking closely, the breath of little Lin Suiying is very stable, even stronger than a few days ago. For Su Xian, he can't care so far. As long as the person is fine. Other things can be solved slowly. Regarding the Forbidden Land, Su Xian has learned a lot during this period. There are 4 forbidden lands in the battlefield of the two worlds, distributed in 4 directions of the battlefield, namely, Infinite Altar, Sorrow Cave, Absolute Frozen Soil and Source of Plague. The 4 forbidden lands are very dangerous. Even a demigod strongman is in danger of falling if he goes deep into them. As for how the 4 forbidden lands were generated, the Blue Star Alliance could not give a specific explanation. The current definition is naturally generated dangerous land. Su Xian thought for a while. He took out another thing from the system space, which was the soul crystal that was returned before. He didn't know what situation Lin Suiying was in now, whether she was in danger or lonely. He was out of reach of the battlefield of the two worlds, and could only help in this way. Suiying, this is all I can do for you. Take care of yourself over there. I'll burn these soul crystals for you first. Su Xian muttered in his heart, wondering if the soul lamp had telepathic function. He moved his mind, and 3 soul crystals flew to the lampstand. Xiao Xiao Suiying hugged one of them and took a bite. With each bite, the soul light on her body would become stronger. When all 3 soul crystals were swallowed, Xiao Xiao Suiying grew up a lot, and her face looked more delicate. At the same time, the distant battlefield between the two worlds. One of the 4 forbidden areas, deep in the Infinite Altar. The huge Infinite Altar was boundless. In a certain space in the altar, the hazy glow filled the air. Lin Suiying bathed in the spiritual spring, her white jade arms stirred the water and carefully scrubbed her body, her 3,000 black hairs were tightly attached to her upper body, half covered. She tilted her head slightly, her eyes closed, and her expression was enjoying. Suddenly, her body trembled violently. A pleasure rushing from the depths of her soul made her brows furrow. She could clearly feel her mental strength increasing, her soul strength improving, and her control over her body improving. What's going on? Lin Suiying was puzzled. She had already improved once, so the second effect shouldn't be so strong, and the spiritual spring washing and upgrading process of the Infinite Altar would not be so comfortable. Could it be Su Xian? Su Xian's figure appeared in her mind. Before leaving, she remembered that Su Xian asked her to light something called the Life Soul Lamp. Except Su Xian, no one else could enter her soul through such a mysterious means. At this point, Lin Suiying no longer thought about human feelings. Whether it was people or feelings, at this point, sooner or later they would be given to him. Lin Suiying looked up at the dark sky and whispered softly. When I come back, there will be no more shackles between us. 10,000 times return, I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 152. At the end of March. The finals of the Global Higher Education Institutions Exchange Competition ushered in the opening. In any era, the sense of ceremony is very important. The Blue Star Alliance advocates the spirit of the exchange competition of unity, progress, and common progress. As the host, Longguo, the only civilized country inherited from the old times, showed its grace at this moment. After the magnificent opening ceremony, the male and female hosts in gorgeous costumes came out. The two walked to the front of the stage with a smile on their faces, but neither of them spoke. The audience also spontaneously quieted down. Because they received news that a heavyweight figure would appear today. The important figure that even the likes of Wu and Wang had to make way for, the audience naturally knew in their hearts, except for those semi-god realm strongmen, no one could have this honor. Welcome everyone to attend the opening ceremony of the finals. After a short silence, a voice sounded in the venue without warning. His voice was very gentle, as if there was a power to purify the soul, which was evenly transmitted to the ears of everyone in the venue, and it was not as abrupt and harsh as electronic amplification equipment. I am Shen Heiran from Longguo. First of all, on behalf of Longguo, I would like to thank all my colleagues from Blue Star for their support for this exchange competition. We are very pleased to see the rise of the younger generation on Blue Star. The new generation is better than the old generation. I hope the younger generation will remember that from the moment you step into the professional path, you have only one goal: to reach the divine realm and return a pure land to Blue Star. This exchange competition is just a note in your long life, but I also hope that you will try your best to win. Maybe you think it's too far away to tell you this now, but there must be younger generations among you who will reach our level or even surpass us. Speaking, Shen Heiran's voice paused for a moment. He did not continue to put pressure on the players, but changed the subject. In order to motivate everyone, the Blue Star Alliance has specially prepared special rewards for the champions. Give it a try, everyone. For the final championship. For the glory of the peak. The next step is up to you. I wish you all live up to your original aspirations and meet at the top. The voice stopped abruptly. The audience still dared not speak. After waiting for more than 10 seconds, the venue gradually became noisy, and people began to discuss in a low voice. Many people had ruddy faces and were excited, thinking that the ticket money was worth it. That was a demigod. Even if he didn't show up, just said a few words, he could arouse the admiration of countless people. Su Xian sat in his seat, thinking in his heart. This was his first time to contact the demigod of Dragon Country. The feeling Shen Heiran gave him was completely different from what he imagined. The demigods were not high above, but they had heavier burdens on their shoulders and more responsibilities, and they needed to stand high all the time. The atmosphere in the venue was completely ignited. The 6 contestants participating in the finals entered one by one. Sun Xiaokong from Dingai Academy, Majid from the East Middle School of the Petroleum Federation, and Miazu from Longdu Academy, Roman from the Fence Academy of Romantic Country, Zhangmu from Dingai Academy, and Yechen from Longdu Academy. The audience applauded like thunder, and countless fanatical fans screamed and cheered. On the huge electronic screen, the highlights of the 6 contestants' wonderful games were played. After the ceremony, the game was about to begin. The first match to be held was the third-year group match, with Sun Xiaokong facing Majid. Before the semi-finals, countless audiences in Longguo thought that the final of the third-year group would be a civil war in Longguo, a fateful battle between Dingai Academy and Longdu Academy. But they didn't expect that Majid, who had not performed particularly well before, would take the final spot. At this point, the audience of Longdu Academy and Fenwuji's fan group can only support Sun Xiaokong. In their hearts, they still hope that the final champion can stay in Longguo. The other contestants left. The host came to Sun Xiaokong and Majid and handed them the microphone. This time, Sun Xiaokong was interviewed first. Hello, classmate Sun Xiaokong. From the beginning of the exchange competition, you have been the favorite to win the championship in the eyes of many people, and you have lived up to everyone's expectations and walked to the stage of the finals step by step. How do you feel now? Do you have anything to say to the audience and your opponent Majid before the game starts? Sun Xiaokong took the microphone, cleared his throat, smiled, and swept his eyes across the audience. First of all, I am in a good mood. But entering the finals was within my expectations, and it is not worth getting excited. I have always had only one goal, that is to win the championship. In the semi-finals, my senior sister Xianyu and Qingqing deliberately lost to me, which made the seniors and juniors of Longdu Academy very angry, and they beat me up. At this point, Sun Xiaokong grinned. But I have no complaints against everyone in Longdu Academy. I will just regard you as helping me become stronger. To thank you for your hard work and for the glory of Dragon Country, I will take your support from Longdu Academy and win the final championship. These words made the audience of Longdu Academy feel much better. But Sun Xiaokong changed the subject. Of course, I, Dingai Academy, took the title of the world's #1 this year. Welcome everyone to challenge me when you are free. After Sun Xiaokong finished speaking, he calmly handed the microphone back to the host. This kid still deserves a beating. It seems that I was treated lightly last time. I have never seen anyone so shameless. Oh, there's nothing we can do. Feng Wuji doesn't live up to his expectations, so we can only support this kid. If he wins the championship, forget it. If he doesn't win, I will definitely give this kid a beating. Everyone in the audience loves and hates Sun Xiaokong. There is no way, if Sun Xiaokong really wants to win the championship, then he will get the championship free right to spray. Those who take honor for the country cannot be criticized. The host also smiled slightly. Of the two contestants on the stage, she naturally preferred Sun Xiaokong. She was a little crazy, but it is not a bad thing for young people to be energetic and confident. The microphone was handed to Majid. Majid is a black man with long arms and short legs. His face looks plump and round. He wears a turban, has pious eyes, and looks honest and honest. But everyone knows that a genius who comes from a chaotic place like the Petroleum Federation is by no means an honest and kind person. This has also been confirmed in previous games. Even Feng Wuji fell into the hands of Majid, which is enough to prove his ability. Majid held the microphone and smiled, "Thank you for your support. I will try my best to win the championship. Dragon Kingdom is the world's most powerful country, but I will prove that our Petroleum Federation is not weak either." A decent speech. Far less crazy than Sun Xiaokong. After the host and the two contestants greeted each other, they withdrew from the duel. Global Higher Education Exchange Competition Finals, Game 1. Starting soon. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 10,000 times return, I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 153. Global Higher Education Institutions Exchange Competition, the first game of the finals. The third-year group, Sun Xiaokong from Dragon Country Dingai Institute vs Majid from Petroleum Federation East Middle School. The competition begins. The electronic referee sounded. The battle was about to start. Sun Xiaokong's body movements were like a rainbow, and he rushed towards Majid with full firepower. Majid was not panicked at all. He quickly squatted down and merged his power into the ground. Bloodstone Demon. As the spell was chanted, the ground in front of Sun Xiaokong suddenly cracked, and a huge blood-red palm pushed across. Druids have a very obvious advantage over traditional summoners. Their ability is to give natural things a short-term spiritual wisdom and the ability to transform, and the speed of summoning servants is much faster than that of ordinary summoners. Just like the Bloodstone Demon summoned by Majid, it only takes 2 or 3 seconds to chant. Bang! Sun Xiaokong hit hard with a stick. It hit the head of the Bloodstone Demon. With his attack power, it should be easy to smash the Bloodstone Demon, but Majid has the ability to share the damage with the summoned creatures. The power of the stick was divided into 2, and it was immediately much weaker. This is the most difficult point of Majid. If the opponent cannot deal with the first servant cleanly, Majid will summon more and more servants, and the damage will be continuously shared. In addition, druids are good at healing. The opponent can only be dragged to death. Sun Xiaokong has seen the game between Majid and Fenwuji, and knows Majid's strengths and weaknesses. He also wants to solve the battle quickly. However, he is also a slow-heating player with insufficient explosive power. It is impossible to solve Majid in the first time. If it were the third sister, I am afraid that no matter how many Majid summons, it would be a dead word, and the damage sharing would be useless. Both the person and the servants would be poisoned. It is a pity that the competition system is like this. If you encounter an opponent who restrains yourself, you can only admit defeat. There is no double elimination system in the exchange competition, and the loser does not have a resurrection match. After a few rounds, Majid summoned some more servants. For example, willow trees, vines, fire demons, animal spirits, etc. The combat power of these summons is not very strong, but they are difficult to deal with and there are many of them. Sun Xiaokong couldn't touch Majid at all, but he still waved his stick. Bang! 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 The stick was swung, and the shadow of the stick was like a mountain. Almost 90% of the power of each stick could hit the enemy. Sun Xiaokong's stick skills were already very exquisite. Behind many summons, Majid was cautious and watched the battle. Although he had the upper hand, he didn't dare to underestimate it. Because so far in the game, no one has seen where Sun Xiaokong's limit is. Sun Xiaokong didn't seem to be crushing in every game, but he could win as the battle progressed. He had to be very cautious to deal with this opponent. There were more and more servants. With Majid's current ability, it was not a problem to control more than 30 servants at the same time. The damage was divided into 30 parts. He didn't believe that Sun Xiaokong could still turn the tables. In the spectator seats, many Dragon Country audiences shook their heads and sighed. Since Fenwuji was defeated by Majid, they knew the special ability of this druid. There are only two ways to defeat Majid. Either fight quickly and crush with absolute strength from the beginning, or outlast Majid. In the eyes of everyone, Sun Xiaokong is obviously more suitable for the former fighting method. They all thought that Sun Xiaokong had hidden some big tricks and would solve Majid cleanly and neatly at the beginning. But they didn't expect it to be dragged into this situation. More than 30 servants share the power. In this case, neither Fenwuji can beat them. How should Sun Xiaokong deal with it? The situation on the field became more and more urgent. Facing the siege of more than 30 servants, Sun Xiaokong tightly grasped the stick in his hand, with a vast fighting spirit, and in the endless fighting spirit there was a fierce murderous aura that ordinary people could hardly detect. After all, most of the audience were students and could not see the doorway. But in the eyes of the big guys, Sun Xiaokong was completely in a balance, or even slightly superior. Although Sun Xiaokong seemed to be trapped in a siege, unable to break through and threatening Majid, one thing cannot be ignored, that is, Majid's proud means did not cause effective damage to Sun Xiaokong. The druid profession lacks explosive power. If it cannot defeat Sun Xiaokong, it is hard to say who will win or lose in the future. The top masters and the spectators are now standing on two completely different viewpoints. Teacher, can the fourth junior brother win? Xianyu and Qingqing was also watching the game seriously, but she was not good at fighting. She was only obsessed with alchemy and had little research on other professions. In her eyes, her junior brother was obviously at a disadvantage. Su Xian smiled and said, "Don't worry, if there is no accident, Xiaokong will win." Xianyu and Qingqing didn't understand. But she understood one thing very well, that the teacher must be right. The battle on the field was fierce. After hundreds of rounds, Majid finally found something wrong. He seemed to see a fiery fighting spirit burning in Sun Xiaokong's body. The opponent seemed to be completely immersed in the fighting state, and the fighting spirit was almost solid. It seemed that he was born to fight. The most important thing was that Sun Xiaokong didn't know what kind of strange skills he practiced. Not only was his fighting spirit getting stronger and stronger, but the strength of his body energy was also increasing. If it were any other opponent, he would have been dragged to death by him long ago. If this continued, he would be the one to be dragged to death. No, I have to change my fighting style. Majid's mentality was a little broken. He never thought that he would be dragged to change his fighting strategy one day. Druids' fighting style is not limited to summoning servants. They can also add the power of the spirits of heaven and earth to themselves, so that they have the characteristics of other species. Bear Spirit. Possession. The spell was chanted. A huge bear spirit appeared behind Majid. The bear spirit turned into a little power and merged into Majid's body. Majid's body began to change. His body, which was only more than 1 meter long, expanded rapidly and grew to more than 5 meters in the blink of an eye. Fortunately, the armor he wore was made of high-end materials and had strong extensibility, which could still help him fight. Brown hair grew on his limbs, and his palms and soles turned into bear claws. His eyes were full of wildness. Bear warrior, fearless. Majid roared, and his huge body rushed towards Sun Xiaokong. The man has turned into a bear, and his head has also turned into a bear. Sun Xiaokong sneered. The fighting spirit in his body suddenly burst out, sweeping through thousands of troops, and actually pushed back those summons with a stick. Take my stick. The summons are forced back with a stick. Sun Xiaokong raised his arm upwards, and the stick turned with the force. At the same time, he exerted force on his waist, driving his whole body forward. Majid was not afraid, and swung his palm to fight Sun Xiaokong. Puff! The moment he touched the long stick, Majid seemed to see thousands of troops on the battlefield, and he was facing thousands of troops alone. The crushing momentum made him subconsciously want to retreat. Fear in battle is a taboo on the battlefield. The stick was like a blue dragon out of the sea, crushing Majid's mind while also causing Majid's body to suffer trauma. Wow! This stick also shocked the audience. Is Sun Xiaokong already so strong? Taking the initiative to attack with a stick, Majid broke his defense. The vast fighting spirit deterrence made Majid feel that he was not facing a person, but the god in charge of war. He found it difficult to move. Stick after stick. In an instant, Sun Xiaokong had swung hundreds of sticks. Even though he had the ability to share the damage, the overlapping and endless attacks still made him feel fatal trauma. He knew that he was doomed to lose. But he was not disappointed. He went to Longguo and stepped onto the stage, not for the so-called championship. Since you can't win by yourself, then release. 10,000 times return. I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 154. Release. When Sun Xiaokong poked Majid's chest with a stick, a strange purple light suddenly burst out from the latter's body. Time seemed to freeze at that moment, and the battle between the two people in the center of the venue became a non-static picture. Sun Xiaokong could feel that the surrounding space was imprisoned, and only his thoughts could move. Time and space imprisonment. No. Sun Xiaokong saw that in the purple light, tiny particles were moving at high speed, and they seemed to be devouring Majid's body. The speed of the particles was getting faster and faster. When they were extremely fast, the imprisoned space returned to normal, and the purple light was suddenly absorbed into Majid's body. At the same time, a powerful shockwave burst out from Majid's body. Puff! Sun Xiaokong was directly knocked back by this shockwave. What's going on? The two poles reversed and reversed again. The audience was confused. Obviously, Majid had already fallen into an absolute disadvantage. How could he turn the tables again? Majid's body changed again. His original 5-meter-tall body expanded again, and a pair of huge wings grew behind him. On his chest, a tiger face protruded. Behind him, there was a hard shell protecting his body, and his entire body was covered with scales. At this moment, Majid had completely lost his human form, and the strong aura emanating from his body made many professionals in the spectator seats feel oppressed. Even the kings in the referee seat frowned. Majid's change was too great. This strength was infinitely close to the Marquis realm, and Sun Xiaokong could not contend with it at all. At this time, the King Suzuka King from the Petroleum Federation spoke. My friends may not know that this is one of the special abilities of our druid profession, the fusion of multiple spirits. King Suzuka smiled. Majid is the most outstanding genius in the Petroleum Federation in the past 100 years, and the only druid in the younger generation who can master the fusion of multiple spirits. King Wuan glanced at him. Really? But why does this king feel a little strange? King Shang of Sakura country sneered. It's not strange that Zhongmu of your dragon country has the power of the demon seed, but it's strange that Majid has special powers. The dignified dragon country can't be so generous, right? Since the death of Yue Sakura, King Shang has been very unhappy with the dragon country. If there is such an opportunity to ridicule, he will definitely not let it go. King Wuan frowned tightly. He always felt that there were some clues about Majid, but he couldn't see through it completely. In this case, he couldn't interrupt the game without authorization. In the previous few games, he had already caused dissatisfaction among many foreign kings by protecting Zhongmu. If he intervened at this time, he would definitely be united by several people to make a fuss. On the viewing platform, Su Xian's expression was also heavy. He always felt that Majid was very strange, and there was a familiar breath on him, but he couldn't think of the source of this breath for a while. The fusion of multiple spirits of the druid can indeed greatly increase the strength, but it shouldn't be so strong. The game on the field is still going on. The strengthened Majid completely suppressed Sun Xiaokong, and he didn't even need servants. He completely suppressed Sun Xiaokong in a one-on-one situation. The ground was blasted one after another. Even if Sun Xiaokong could barely block Majid's attack, the powerful force still shook his internal organs and made his internal breath uncomfortable. Once. Twice. 3 times. Countless times. The audience had long lost count of how many times Sun Xiaokong was knocked away. The dual field had been smashed into potholes, and there was no intact ground left. Sun Xiaokong was also beaten to a bloody mess. The sharp claws scratched his body countless times. Fortunately, the vitality of professionals is strong enough. As long as they are not injured in the vital parts, they can recover continuously. Facing a powerful opponent, Sun Xiaokong stood up again, spit out a mouthful of blood foam, and hooked his finger at Majid. Not enough, come again. If you can't kill me today, you will lose. Majid grinned, then I will fulfill your wish. His strength rose again. Bang! Another palm was slapped out, and the strong palm wind was like a mountain pressing down on the top. Sun Xiaokong could not avoid it and was slapped away by a palm, hitting the edge of the dual field hard. Crack! The sound of broken bones came. The previous blow actually broke his spine. Majid fluttered his wings, came to Sun Xiaokong again, and kicked sideways. Sun Xiaokong had tried his best to dodge, but the broken spine made his reaction speed and mobility much weaker, and he was still kicked away. Before the figure flew backwards and landed on the ground, Majid had already flashed below Sun Xiaokong and kicked him again, hitting him hard on the broken spine. At this point, everyone didn't think Sun Xiaokong had any countermeasures. Rather than being abused, it's better to admit defeat. But they knew that Sun Xiaokong wouldn't. They could feel the unyielding fighting spirit emanating from Sun Xiaokong. With Sun Xiaokong's personality, as long as there was a trace of consciousness, he would never surrender. I won't lose. Sun Xiaokong clenched his teeth, his body seemed to be shattered, completely out of his control, and the pain turned into numbness. His consciousness was extremely clear. His persistence also moved countless viewers. The special life field continued to absorb energy to help him recover from his injuries, but even so, he could only hold on for a breath and was completely unable to fight back. His fighting spirit had been condensed to the limit that he could reach, and he needed a force to support him to swing the stick. The desire to win was boiling in his heart. The fighting spirit was burning. His desire for victory, that pure desire to fight, had crushed the pain brought by his body at this moment. At this moment, he seemed to feel a strange power surging from his limbs. That power did not heal his body. Instead, virtual silk threads formed in his body, which actually woven into a virtual spine, temporarily taking over his life state. Broken bones, damaged internal organs, and broken tissues were all hung up by the silk threads. This body was finally able to withstand his extreme fighting spirit. When Majid attacked again, Sun Xiaokong dodged it and hit Majid's head with a backhand stick. One stick came out. 10,000 sticks followed. Sun Xiaokong seized the opportunity and launched a counter-attack with a thunderous force. What's going on? How can he stand up after being beaten like this? What kind of monster is this? The audience was shocked. Even those who were crowned kings and dukes were shocked. Only in the corner of the viewing platform, a young girl with a childish face was thinking. Interesting, interesting. It should be the masterpiece of Ching Ching. This girl's alchemy talent is really rare in the world. The evaluator was the dean of the Medical College of Longdu Academy, the sole Dr. Peixiu. On the field, Majid, who thought he had won, was also a little confused by the sudden fierce counterattack. He didn't expect Sun Xiaokong to be able to fight back after being beaten like this. The vast fighting spirit from the stick made him mentally shaken, his head was terrified, and he was stuck with one stick after another, and he couldn't dodge. Do you want me to improve again? Majid looked at Sun Xiaokong, a hint of cruelty flashed in his eyes. A mere ant dares to block my way. Instantly, purple light burst out from Majid's body again. Bang! His power began to rise again. With such strength, even Sun Xiaokong had the ability to reach the sky and was powerless to resist. Just when Majid was about to explode and win the victory in one fell swoop, a figure suddenly flashed and pressed down Majid's crown, forcibly pressing back the rising power. At the same time, the figure of King Wuan also fell in front of Sun Xiaokong and protected him. King Wuan raised his eyebrows and looked at King Suzuka of the Petroleum Federation. Give me an explanation. Sorry, King Suzuka bowed slightly. We, the Petroleum Federation, admit defeat in this game. Admit defeat. King Wuan stared at King Suzuka, always feeling that this guy had bad intentions. The audience was even more upset. What a joke. Majid was about to win, but King Suzuka actually admitted defeat on behalf of the Petroleum Federation? What is this? 10,000 times return. I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 155. After admitting defeat, King Suzuka looked at the crowned kings in the referee's seat. Everyone, Dragon Country's Sun Xiaokong is very powerful, and we are ashamed of ourselves. Majid does have stronger means, but that means will affect his foundation. I don't want to let the genius of the Petroleum Federation ruin his future because of a mere championship. This explanation is very reasonable. All the crowned kings agreed. The aura that erupted from Majid just now was completely out of that level, and was even more terrifying than the demon power that Zhongmu had erupted before. If Majid used that kind of power, his foundation would definitely be damaged. Everyone, please leave first. After saying that, King Suzuka took Majid away. Many foreign audiences began to boo. Although Sun Xiaokong won, in their eyes, this championship was not worthy of the title. Some audiences also felt that winning is winning, and losing is losing. The fact that Dragon Country can get here step by step is the result of countless Dragon Country people fighting for their lives. Long Aotian, Yin Xiaoshuang and other geniuses almost died on the field, but they still gambled their lives to win their own honor. The winner is the king. Those who think Sun Xiaokong is not worthy of being the champion are all brainless. The audience has their own opinions. The winner is Sun Xiaokong from Longguo Dingai Academy. The electronic referee only recognizes facts. Let us congratulate Sun Xiaokong for winning the championship of the third-year group of the 76th Global Higher Education Institutions Exchange Competition. The host's enthusiastic voice sounded in the venue. Most of the audience are still willing to cheer for Sun Xiaokong. Sun Xiaokong's tense nerves also relaxed at this moment, the fighting spirit dissipated, his vision became blurred, and he fell straight to the ground. Whoosh! The next second, Su Xian's figure had come to the exhausted fourth disciple and supported him. He checked Sun Xiaokong's physical condition. Broken spine, damaged internal organs, multiple shattered flesh and blood tissues, blocked heart veins. Professionals below the marquee realm rely heavily on their physical bodies. If their physical bodies are injured to a certain extent, their heart, brain, and other vital parts will be severely damaged, and they may still die. Only those at the marquee realm and above will not die immediately even if their hearts and brains are broken, and they still have a strong vitality to self-repair. For Sun Xiaokong, this injury is already very serious. At this time, Xianyu and Qingqing also surrounded him. Su Xian turned to look at her and asked, "Qingqing, the power that exploded in Xiaokong's body was because of you, right?" "Yes." Xianyu and Qingqing nodded. "The decoction I gave to fourth junior brother before contained a special alchemical substance. That was the inspiration I found from the formulas you gave me. With some guidance from Aunt Chiu, I was able to refine this special alchemical substance." Su Xian was a little surprised. "So, Zhang Mu, Xiaoli and others also have this special alchemical substance in their bodies?" "Of course," Xianyu and Qingqing explained, "but fourth junior brother is much better than senior brother Mu. Compared with Xiaoli, he drank more medicinal soup, and the special alchemical substances contained in his body were also more. According to my plan, they have not yet completely merged with the body of the fourth junior brother, and they can't play a role for the time being. But I didn't expect that Majid's continuous attacks and the unyielding will of the fourth junior brother actually allowed those alchemical substances to merge into the body of the fourth junior brother in advance." "Okay." After confirming that Sun Xiaokong was fine, Su Xian breathed a sigh of relief. "You take Xiaokong back first, and I will handle the next things." "Yes, teacher." Xianyu and Qingqing followed the order and took the unconscious Sun Xiaokong away. According to the competition process, the champion should receive the trophy and medal, but these are not real rewards. The leader of Dingai Academy will take care of those processes. And the special rewards of the Blue Star Alliance will be awarded together after the champions of the three groups are all decided. Su Xian is not concerned about a mere world champion now, he has something more concerned about. King Wuan. Su Xian came to Beixia. "Su Xian boy, what's wrong?" King Wuan asked. "I want to tell you something." "Is it convenient?" Su Xian said solemnly. King Wuan's face suddenly became solemn. Did Su Xian also find something wrong with Majid? "Come with me." The next moment, the two came to a closed room. King Wuan looked at Su Xian. "What do you want to say?" "That Majid is weird. He has the power from the abyss in his body." Su Xian was blunt. From the moment the purple light appeared on Majid, Su Xian felt something was wrong, and his subsequent attention was always on Majid. Until Majid's second enhancement, he finally found the problem. The power in Majid came from the abyss. The power of the abyss. King Wuan thought, "No wonder I feel familiar, but this is not the key to the problem, right? Sakura country has already had a precedent of borrowing the power of the abyss. The Blue Star Alliance has a very lenient policy for the training of younger geniuses. As long as you can control the power for yourself and don't go astray, the Blue Star Alliance will not interfere. Of course, if the power erodes his mind and violates the professional conventions customized by the Blue Star Alliance, then it is not anyone else's fault. Therefore, Majid's actions are not considered illegal. Su Xian said, "It's okay to have the power of the abyss. The key point is that Majid's mental and physical abilities cannot withstand such a strong force." But when he accepted that power, it was almost seamless. Do you think there is a possibility that he became some kind of medium for the power of the abyss to enter Blue Star? King Wuan said in a deep voice, "Don't say this nonsense. It concerns the peace of Blue Star. You must be cautious in every word and action. That's why I'm speaking to you alone. Su Suandeo, I am very concerned about the power of the abyss, so I pay more attention to it. I just remind you to be more careful. If the guess is wrong, only the two of us will know about it, and it will not have any impact." "Okay, I get it." King Wuan nodded. "I will pay special attention in the next few days and strengthen precautions. There are still things to deal with at the school, so I will take the first step. You don't have to worry, in Longdu City, no one can make trouble." King Wuan left. Su Xian sighed, hoping that things were not as bad as he thought. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article feed, placement, below article feed, target. Type, mix. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 10,000 times return, I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 156. School Apartment Dormitory. When Su Xian came back, Sun Xiaokong was still in a coma. "Ching Ching, how is Xiaokong?" Su Xian asked. "Fourth junior brother's vital signs are very stable." Xian Yuan Ching Ching said, "I just don't know why he hasn't woken up yet. Some kind of mutation seems to be happening in his body." Mutations. Su Xian immediately stepped forward to check Sun Xiaokong's physical condition. He could feel that the injuries in Sun Xiaokong's body were gradually recovering, and there were special auras churning in his flesh and blood. These auras put Sun Xiaokong's body in a mysterious state. Gradually, a faint jade light bloomed on Sun Xiaokong's body. As time goes by, the jade light becomes more and more brilliant. Just looking at the appearance, Sun Xiaokong seemed to have turned into a statue carved from jade. All the disciples were stunned. Especially Xian Yuan Ching Ching. Was the fourth junior brother really mutated by her? Su Xian had a thought. The eyes of the Divine Master are opened, and the data emerges. Root bone value, 155. Comprehension value, 160. Character value, 95. Compatibility with the skill Complaining Stars has been practiced, and the current progress is 12,000 meters of life field. Existing physique or bloodline, already possesses the prototype of the Fighting Holy Body, under evolution. Suitable for physique or bloodline, the compatibility with the Fighting Holy Body is 100%. Fighting the Holy Body prototype. Su Xian was stunned for a moment, then relieved. No matter what kind of physique, it is born on the basis of the living body and does not necessarily require external transplantation. Some people are born with special physiques. It is rare but not impossible to develop acquired physiques. In every battle, Sun Xiaokong will use his fighting spirit to temper his body, mind, and will. Coupled with Lausan's chicken soup development plan, the special state in the finals, and the blessing of the special life field and other factors. Only then did the prototype of the Dozhan Holy Body come into existence. For people like Sun Xiaokong who love fighting and treat every battle with heart, it is not really strange to break through in battle. Now that the prototype has been condensed, sooner or later it will evolve into a true fighting body. Teacher, is fourth junior brother okay? Xianyuan Qingqing asked with concern. It's okay, Su Xian smiled, for Xiaokong, this time is a blessing in disguise. It will be fine when Xiaokong wakes up by himself. Xianyuan Qingqing breathed a sigh of relief. Since the teacher said it's okay, it means it's okay. This wait is a day. On the second day, the finals of the second grade group were held as scheduled. Enmiazu from Longdu Academy finally defeated Luo Man from Romantic Kingdom Academy and won the championship of the second grade group. Enmiazu's profession is a battle mage. In a one-on-one situation with similar strength, among the mage professions, only the battle mage has the opportunity to compete with many melee professions. In the end, Enmiazu won the championship, which was regarded as protecting the mage's final glory. After watching the game, Su Xian and a group of disciples returned to the apartment dormitory. Sun Xiaokong still didn't wake up. After a day and night of evolution, the jade light on his body became restrained again, and his skin looked crystal clear. Judging from the status, the integration should be almost complete. Time passed little by little. Until 8 p.m. Sun Xiaokong's fingers suddenly moved, and then, the sound of crackling bones was heard. At the same time, system prompts rang in Su Xian's mind. Ding, your disciple Sun Xiaokong has evolved the prototype of the special physique battle holy body. Congratulations on triggering a 9,000 times critical hit return. Your prototype of chaos body has evolved. Chaos body prototype evolution degree, 30%. During this evolution, you gain the active ability Complete Disguise. Perfect Disguise, you can use the skill to disguise yourself as the target object, including voice, body, etc., to achieve perfect disguise. Tip: the prerequisite for launching this skill is that you must first obtain and analyze the blood of the target object. Another active skill. Su Xian was delighted. It seems that every time the prototype of the chaos body evolves by 10%, there will definitely be an active skill, and all of the skills are very practical. Whether it is reproduction, space jump or perfect disguise, under certain circumstances, it can be comparable to those semi-god level forbidden spells. Teacher, did I win? A voice came from the side, interrupting Su Xian's thoughts. Sun Xiaokong has woken up. You win, Su Xian nodded, you are the global champion of the junior group and you have done well. I thought I was dreaming. When he won, Sun Xiaokong's consciousness was very blurred and he could not remember the scene at all. After receiving Su Xian's recognition, he finally smiled. He said, Teacher, I feel that my body has changed a lot. Many things that I couldn't understand in the past seem to be understood all at once. Su Xian explained, you have awakened a special physique called the Battle Saint Body, but it is still in its rudiment. You need to refine it through constant battles to evolve into a complete physique. This kind of physique can infinitely improve your fighting instinct, and every battle will be your gain. If used well, you can even predict the opponent's actions in battle, just like predicting the future. Fighting Holy Body is born for fighting. Hearing Su Xian's words, Sun Xiaokong was extremely excited, his eyes sparkling. So, do I finally have a chance to surpass you, teacher? After receiving Su Xian's teachings, Sun Xiaokong felt that the teacher was unfathomable and his strength was beyond his understanding. But in his heart, he still hoped to surpass the teacher one day. Su Xian encouraged, of course, practice well and practice the fighting saint body to the complete body as soon as possible. Next to him, Zhang Mu complained in his heart, fourth junior brother can't tell the difference after sleeping. Surpassing the teacher, is it a dream? Xianyuan Qingqing also joked, fourth junior brother, think about it before setting a goal. Guess why fifth junior brother is willing to become the teacher's disciple? Sun Xiaokong immediately wilted. He quickly changed the subject. By the way, teacher, I have another question for you. Go ahead. During the previous competition, I was about to lose, but suddenly a special force emerged from my body. It was that force that took over my damaged life state, which gave me a chance to win the game. What is that? Sun Xiaokong asked. Su Xian looked at the third brother. Qing Qing, explain it. Xianyu and Qing Qing smiled and said, Junior brother, do you still remember the chicken soup cultivation plan of the senior sister? Sun Xiaokong was stunned. Third senior sister, is this also in your calculation? The third brother smiled embarrassedly. Chicken soup is true love, success is an accident. Sun Xiaokong. Sure enough. After all, he could not escape the fate of becoming the experimental subject of the third senior sister. The house was filled with a joyful atmosphere. Just when the master and apprentice were happy, the figure of Xianyu and Dolly suddenly broke in outside the door. Brother Su, I have good news for you. 10,000 times return, I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 157. Brother Xianyuan. Su Xian was surprised. Why are you here in the middle of the night? I'm here to tell you good news, Xianyuan said vigorously. I just got a reliable message from the academy that Ye Chen has applied to the Blue Star Alliance to withdraw from the competition. Ye Chen withdrew from the competition. Zhang Mu and Yin Xiaoshuang exclaimed at the same time. Uncle Dolly, are you sure? Zhang Mu was even more excited. It didn't matter whether he won the championship or not, but he had been looking forward to this battle with Ye Chen for a long time. Ye Chen withdrew from the competition? The sudden news made Zhang Mu very uncomfortable. Absolutely true. Xianyuan sighed. My Longdu Academy had the hope of winning 3 championships this year, but in the end, it only won 1 in the second-year group. He then smiled with relief, but I am also very happy that Brother Su's disciple won the championship. At least the championship stayed in Longguo, which is better than being taken abroad. Brother, do you know the specific reason why Ye Chen withdrew from the competition? Su Xian was not happy. Every game is a test, especially when competing with top talents of the same generation, which can help people grow quickly. Exchange competition so far. Zhang Mu, Xianyu and Qing Qing and Sun Xiaokong have made great progress. They all transformed from a series of stressful battles. Otherwise, Zhang Mu's magic heart and Sun Xiaokong's battle saint body prototype would not have condensed so early. Alas. Xianyuan shook his head. I don't know the reason for the withdrawal, but I heard that the protector of the ancient martial arts alliance has taken Ye Chen back overnight. Su Xian frowned. What happened recently is too weird. First, the Petroleum Federation took the initiative to admit defeat, and then the ancient martial arts alliance urgently recalled Ye Chen overnight. For such an important event, King Wuan should have made preparations for unexpected precautions. But with the attitude of preparing for a rainy day and just in case, Su Xian still wanted to prepare one more hand. After Xianyu and Dolly left, the disciples dispersed. Su Xian walked alone to the Hero Association and opened a secret room. After confirming that there was nothing unusual, Su Xian took out a small bottle from the space ring. The bottle cap was opened. A surging breath emanated from the bottle. This thing was the blood of the Dragon Kingdom's King Juling King, who had fallen in the battlefield between the two worlds. At that time, Su Xian bought the blood of 3 marquises and 1 king in case of emergency. After resurrecting the Sword Bone Marquis, the feeling of separation from life and death made Su Xian very depressed. Even if there was not much friendship, someone was willing to die for you, and a heart of stone would also have emotional fluctuations. It was just necessary for war, and Su Xian also knew that some things were inevitable. After the exchange competition, he should enter the battlefield between the two worlds, where there were many dangers and direct confrontation with the army scouts of Lulan Star. Su Xian didn't want to rely entirely on his own efforts, so of course he had to open it if there was a cheat. It was only a matter of time before the Juling King was resurrected, so it was just this time. Su Xian sacrificed the blood of the Juling King. The cost of resurrecting a powerful king was probably much more serious than resurrecting a powerful marquis. If it weren't for the power of Red Moon and Purple Sun that could replace the sacrifice of life, he wouldn't dare to try rashly. Su Xian closed his eyes, calmed his mind, and began to chant. God of death and resurrection, I am willing to abide by the blood contract. Starting with my blood and ending with the blood of the giant, please respond to my request. Break the confinement of time and space, gather the souls of the dead, use my life as a guide, exchange for your divine power, and give the giant a rebirth. Wood reincarnation technique. End. The blood of the giant king squirmed. It was like a huge suction cup, madly absorbing the energy of the surrounding heaven and earth. The body shape gradually emerged. Because the mother of the giant king was a giant, his body size was far beyond that of ordinary people, and he was more than 3 meters tall in normal state. Don't drain it for me, Su Xian prayed in his heart. He bit his finger. The blood splashed and dripped on the body shape of the giant king. The next moment, the power of the red moon and purple sun in Su Xian's body was constantly pumped into the prototype of the giant spirit king's body. The pumping speed was dozens of times more terrifying than when he resurrected the sword bone marquis before. He could feel that the blood sea, red moon, and purple sun in his body were shrinking rapidly. When the giant spirit king's body gradually solidified, the blood sea in Su Xian's body was almost at the bottom, and the red moon and purple sun became a small ball. However, the giant spirit king's body and soul were still not completely condensed. Su Xian could feel that his life breath was also beginning to be pumped. The feeling of his life breath being sucked away made him feel blurry, tired, weak, and sore. Fortunately, this state did not last too long. The body and soul of the giant spirit king finally solidified. A white hair slipped from Su Xian's head, and Su Xian was so scared that he immediately condensed a water mirror to look at it. Fortunately, he was still handsome. His hair was not completely white. There was just a white hair, and the inside of his body felt very empty, as if it had been hollowed out. I, resurrected? The voice of the giant spirit king was like thunder, exactly the same as the state when the sword bone marquis was resurrected. The memory fragments were reorganized in his mind. Giant spirit king, welcome back to Dragon Country. Su Xian also had experience, and took the lead in telling the giant spirit king the time of resurrection and the defects and limitations of the wood reincarnation technique. After learning that he only had 2 years to live, the giant spirit king was not upset. At their level, they have seen too much, and they have died once, so they have long been indifferent to life and death. Thank you, Su Xian. The giant king bowed and thanked him, and then asked, by the way, I want to ask how the giants are doing now. His mother is a princess of the giants and has always been concerned about the giants. At the beginning, the giants were also one of the races that assisted Blue Star in fighting against Lauren Star, otherwise there would not be a mixed blood like him. Su Xian said, the giants are doing well now. Blue Star is stable, and naturally they will not treat their former allies badly. That's good, the giant king smiled. In this case, I won't be so regretful. Su Xian, if you need anything, just tell me. Su Xian didn't say much. I have to admit that the mentality of these resurrected bosses is better than one another. Neither Jian Guho nor the Giant King is nostalgic for the past, nor will they disturb the originally peaceful life of their relatives. Those who have achieved great things have great concentration. Juling King, you disguise yourself well, conceal your breath, and go out with me tomorrow. Su Xian was still worried that something might happen tomorrow, and asked the Giant King to stay with him, mainly for the personal safety of several disciples. Even if I disguise myself, I can't escape the eyes of some powerful kings in Longdu, King Juling said. I will take care of it. Regarding this matter, Su Xian could only talk to King Wuan first. He had met King Wuan so many times, and he was a candidate for the demigod of Longguo, one of the pillars of Longguo in the future, so he could be trusted. Everything just had to wait until tomorrow when the dust settled. 10,000 times return, I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 158. April 1st, morning. Blue Star Alliance officially released the news. Ye Chen, a first-year student at Longdu Academy in Longguo, voluntarily withdraws from the global exchange competition. According to the rules, Zhang Mu was automatically promoted to become the champion of the first-year group of this year's Global Higher Education Exchange competition. Once this news was released, it caused an uproar. Countless people protested and complained that it was shady. Even though Zhang Mu defeated Wen Qiu in the previous game and performed well, Ye Chen still has a lot of hope of winning. With Ye Chen's character, how could he voluntarily withdraw from the competition? When Su Xian led a group of disciples to the Longdu Academy Square, there was already a sea of people there. Zinema refunds the money. My ticket was in vain. I strongly demand a rematch. Protest. Shady story. The audience wasn't buying it at all. Please be quiet. While everyone was making a fuss, the figure of King Wuan appeared above the square. A faint sense of oppression spread, causing everyone to shut their mouths obediently. King Wuan looked around and said in a deep voice, "The Blue Star Alliance has confirmed that Ye Chen has voluntarily withdrawn from the competition. If you have any comments, you can contact the Blue Star Alliance or Dragon Kingdom officials. Please do not influence other players because of your personal emotions." After that, King Wuan left. The official staff took over. "Everyone, the tickets you purchased for the finals will be fully refunded to your account to show official sincerity. Everyone can attend the following award ceremony for free. Thank you for your cooperation." The audience had no choice but to curse and enter the auditorium. He spoke in protest. "You still have to attend the award ceremony. Every competition has special rewards given to talents by the Blue Star Alliance. I don't know what this year's rewards will be. Although they can't get it, it's not bad to gain some knowledge along the way." The audience entered, and Su Xian and his party followed the crowd. The host's voice was still enthusiastic. But the atmosphere at the scene was not very good. The finals was supposed to be the most exciting competition, but first Petroleum Federation voluntarily admitted defeat, and then the much-anticipated super-popular player Ye Chen withdrew from the competition. Full of expectations came to nothing, and the audience naturally didn't buy it. Welcome to all of you to attend the award ceremony of the 76th Global Higher Education Exchange Competition. With the automatic promotion of Zhang Mu from Dingai University, this global exchange competition has also come to a successful conclusion. The following 3 champions are invited to enter. Third-year group, Sun Xiaokong from Dragon Kingdom Dingai Academy. Second-year group, Enmiazu, Longdu Academy of Dragon Kingdom. First-grade group, Zhang Mu from Dragon Kingdom Dingai Academy. Welcome you 3. With a burst of warm cheers, the 3 contestants took the stage. Among them, Enmiazu has the loudest voice. After all, this is the home court of Longdu, and Enmiazu is a beautiful woman. King Wuan personally awarded the 3 championship trophies, medals, and Hero Association point cards. After the trophy was awarded, King Wuan looked at the audience and said with a smile, "The next thing to be awarded is a special exclusive reward for each champion, which is provided by the Blue Star Alliance. The special reward of this exchange competition is the demigod level forbidden technique." Wow! At that moment, the whole place was in an uproar. Damn it! Demigod level forbidden arts. Did I hear you correctly? The Blue Star Alliance is preparing to spend a lot of money. There are indeed many talented people in this class, and the gold content of the championship is very high, but is the semi-god level forbidden technique too much? In previous years, the most I could get were king level techniques and secret techniques. The audience was talking a lot. In the audience seat, Su Xian squinted his eyes. Things were getting weirder and weirder. He even dared to use the forbidden techniques of the semi-god level, either fishing or making a fortune from the Blue Star Alliance. But if fishing really happened, would any fish take the bait with such an obvious fishing technique? Facing the wave of cheers from the audience, King Wuan looked calm and said calmly, "Bring up the prize." Upon hearing the order, the staff presented 3 brocade boxes. King Wuan waved his hand, and the 3 brocade boxes opened automatically. Each brocade box contained an orange gold scroll. The orange gold color represents the semi-god level forbidden techniques. Because only scrolls with spiritual imprints branded by strong men in the demigod realm will show this color. King Wuan looked at Zhang Mu, and Miazu, and Sun Xiaokong. 3 of you, these 3 scrolls are imprinted with semi-god level forbidden techniques. The one on the left is called 9 Transformations of Reversal of Life. It is a technique of reversing life in a desperate situation. Every breakthrough in practice requires going through the hurdles of life and death. After completing each turn, the body and soul can be strengthened in all aspects. After 9 transformations, one can touch the divine realm. The one in the middle is called Fighting Heaven and Earth. This technique requires a strong fighting will to support the practice. It is not afraid of heaven and earth and dares to fight everything. The technique practiced by King Dingai is the fighting against heaven and earth. The one on the right is called the God Step. Its core secret lies in speed. It is more like a movement technique. It does not have an advantage in a frontal collision in the initial stage. But if the speed is cultivated to the extreme, the power it brings will also destroy the heaven and earth. The God crossing step dares to be named after the word God because the God crossing step practiced to the extreme can deal with the real gods. 3 techniques, you choose. The secret of each scroll can only be absorbed once, and then the mark will automatically dissipate. King Wuan finished the introduction and stood aside. 3 scrolls were suspended in front of the 3 people. Until this moment, Zhang Mu, and Miazu, and Sun Xiaokong were still a little confused. The prize was too precious. So precious that they dared not choose. The 3 looked at each other, hesitating, not knowing what to do. Just as the 3 hesitated, a figure suddenly flashed in front of the 3. Is it difficult to choose? Then don't choose. A big hand swept across the 3 scrolls, and when they heard the voice, the figure had already rushed straight to the sky. King Suzuka, it's you. King Wuan roared, and a strong murderous aura burst out in an instant. The shadow of the killing god realm descended, and a huge bone sickle appeared in the sky, sweeping towards King Suzuka who was about to escape. Other kings also chased after him. At the same time, a violent roar exploded on the podium, and the shockwave with a breath of destruction spread instantly. Whoosh! Before the explosion had time to spread, a huge eye suddenly appeared above the sky, and a beam of light poured down from it. The shockwave was instantly absorbed by the beam of light. The playful laughter of King Suzuka was heard from the sky. You are well prepared. I have already taken the bait. It depends on whether you can pull me ashore. I will give you another great gift. As the words fell, above the sky, some unknown black substances were densely packed, and they sprinkled like rain on the entire Longdu Academy. At this time, King Wuan had already caught up with King Suzuka. The 2 fought. What surprised many kings was that King Wuan, who was only 1 step away from the demigod realm, was instantly at a disadvantage. The power displayed by King Suzuka at this moment was comparable to that of a demigod. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 10,000 times return. I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 159. The black substance fell with a destructive aura. The masters from all over Longdu all took action to purify the black substance. In midair, the battle for the kingship was about to start. Although Wuan Wang was no match for the mutated Suzuka Wang, he was able to slow down his speed, and the other kingships also surrounded him. Suzuka Wang's body swelled. A pair of antlers grew on his head, and his face also showed bestiality. As he transformed into a beast, his speed reached the extreme. More than 10 kingships took action together, but they still couldn't stop him, and he continued to break through the sky. At this time, Longdu City's protective formation was still being activated. Before it was completely closed, Suzuka Wang could completely escape. Below, many masters in Longdu worked together to resolve the crisis of the black destructive substance affecting urban facilities and civilians. Just when everyone thought it was safe. Boom! Another explosion came from somewhere in the audience. Everyone turned their heads and saw a monster that had arrived at some point, killing the surrounding civilians crazily. There are many similar situations. Su Xian was leading his disciples to evacuate, and a monster also pounced on them. From this monster, Su Xian clearly felt the power from the abyss. And this power is far greater than the counterfeit Yamata no Orakai. Get out! Su Xian kicked out. The power of the abyss is indeed terrible, but the power of the red moon and purple sun in his body is not weaker than the power of the abyss. Puff! The monster was kicked by Su Xian and exploded into blood foam. Boom! 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 At this moment, a strange heartbeat sounded in his ears. Su Xian's eyes suddenly looked into the distance. He saw Majid of the Oil Federation. Majid grinned, his mouth expanded infinitely, and dense black bugs crawled out of it. Majid's body exploded directly. With a bang, his body disappeared, leaving only a heart beating. The ground seemed to be contaminated by his blood, turning into a dark purple color, and spreading around at an alarming speed. Seeing this scene, many people who were retreating stopped and turned around to kill the bugs. The giant king who had been hiding beside Su Xian no longer hid and went straight to the strange heart. You protect yourself, Su Xian warned. The next moment, he flashed and came to the side of the strange heart. Boom! The dingai stick smashed down. The power of the red moon and purple sun surged. Since the last battle with the demon seed, Su Xian has not experienced the feeling of full fire power for a long time. Countless bugs attacked and were shattered by Su Xian's stick. The superior abyss power seemed to be inferior to Su Xian. The second stick smashed directly towards the strange heart. The dingai stick fell with a bang. Huh! Su Xian exclaimed in surprise, it missed. The stick just now seemed to have hit the target, but in fact it didn't touch the strange heart at all. At this time, the giant king also rushed over. An insect is still an insect after all, and it can't resist the pace of the king. The two looked at each other, swung their weapons again, but still missed. This thing seems to have moved to another layer of space in an instant. The voice of the giant king rang in Su Xian's heart. Can you lock that space? Su Xian asked. I can't lock it, said the giant king, I only had a vague feeling when he dodged. Su Xian was thoughtful. No wonder there are always insects popping up on the ground. I'm afraid they use another layer of space as a medium to enter here. You attack. Su Xian had a way in mind. The giant king responded, swung his double hammers, and slammed the strange heart again. Sure enough, the strange heart disappeared into another layer of space again. In an instant, Su Xian's huge mental power rushed out, locked onto the target, and his body was shining with silver light. Space jump. Start. Whoosh. Su Xian's figure disappeared from the spot, and followed the strange heart to another space. Wherever he looked, there were bugs. This world seemed to be made up of bugs. Su Xian's scalp was numb. He could feel that there were more terrifying breaths leading to this space. If they were allowed to enter Longdu City, the consequences would be disastrous. King Juling, you keep attacking the strange heart. Su Xian conveyed his thoughts to King Juling in the outside space. Because of the wood reincarnation technique, they can communicate across space. The two cooperated and kept hitting the strange heart. This time, the strange heart had nowhere to hide and was constantly hit by King Juling and Su Xian. The space vibrated. As the strange heart was damaged, Su Xian became more and more certain that this thing was the medium connecting the abyss, this space, and the three-layer world of Blue Star. Su Xian didn't expect the invasion of the abyss to come so quickly. Although the abyss had contact with Blue Star before, it was only the spiritual power entering Blue Star and could not interfere with the world. This time, it was the real body that came. These insects should be a kind of abyss race. Boom. As Su Xian and the Giant King hit, the two finally smashed the weird heart. The space began to collapse. Those insects could not enter Blue Star, nor could they go back to the abyss, so they rushed towards Su Xian frantically. However, the space blockade was useless to Su Xian. He activated the space jump again and easily returned to Blue Star. The bugs could only be buried with the annihilated space. Done. Seeing Su Xian come out, the Giant King was surprised. Well, Su Xian nodded, it's done for the time being. This matter is a bit complicated, and the follow-up may involve the entire Blue Star. How to arrange it later, naturally the tall guy will worry about it. The Giant King smiled, and admired Su Xian's strength in his heart. Just now he also wanted to enter that space, but he felt a strong blockade. If he rushed in rashly, he would probably fall into the dimensional turbulence. Unexpectedly, Su Xian shuttled freely in these spaces. It is indeed not a simple person who has mastered the semi-god level forbidden technique at a young age. The two solved the crisis here. Above the sky, the struggle between the kings is still going on. King Suzuka is about to escape from the range of the Dragon Capital City Protection Array. Su Xian looked at it and always felt a little weird. Is the protection array really so slow to start? And he didn't believe that there was no demigod in the most important capital of Dragon Country. Still fishing. Su Xian couldn't think of anything else besides fishing that could have allowed King Suzuka to escape so far and allow the rebels to cause chaos in Dragon City. Is even King Suzuka a small fish? The big fish must be the most mysterious king among the 12 pillars of the two kings. As for who will fish whom in the end, it all depends on which side has the better skills. 10,000 times return, I am a mentor in the Novice Village. Author, Mingtong Shui. Chapter 160. King Suzuka kept approaching the sky and was about to escape from the protective formation of Ryota City. Just when he thought he could escape, the closing speed of the protective formation suddenly accelerated. Raging energy beams shot towards King Suzuka from all directions, blocking his path. King Suzuka's eyes were about to burst. Once trapped, he will have no chance to resist. Your Majesty, save me! King Suzuka roared angrily. Above the sky, a huge palm suddenly fell down with a devastating momentum. That moment, all the kings felt the terrifying oppression. Demigod realm, King Wuan's eyes were burning with flames. I'm afraid this guy has already broken through. Facing the demigods, King Wuan still had no intention of retreating. He clenched the scythe in his hand and swung it towards the sky. The endless murderous intention became a substance, and the surrounding world turned into grey-white. Aha! The scythe swung. Draw an arc on the sky and break the space. But it only slightly blocked the palm and was shattered in an instant. The other kings also took action, but they couldn't stop him. On the ground, Su Xian looked up at the scene with a solemn expression. The last time he fought against the demon seed, it was this huge palm that blocked him. But at that time, The big king only shot from a distance and was neutralized by Li Xingchen with one shot. But this time, he came in person, and even more than 10 kings including King Wuan couldn't stop him. His palm fell and he grabbed it towards King Suzuka. Seeing that King Suzuka was about to be rescued, under the palm, a figure in white suddenly appeared, holding a writing brush nearly 2 meters long in his hand. He raised his arm slightly. The pen moves the dragon and the snake. Draw the word sleepy. The palm suddenly couldn't move. A sneer came from the sky. Shen Heiran, you really didn't leave? The figure in white said with a smile, how dare you come out even though you know I haven't left yet? Let me see where your confidence lies. You guys really went to great lengths to lure me in. The king hiding in the space hummed, it's a pity that you can't keep me. As soon as the words fell, the word sleep in the sky shattered. Immediately afterwards, a huge sphere drilled out of the space. The sphere was made of an unknown substance and exuded a strong aura of destruction. The body of the great king was hidden in it. Shen Heiran sneered, the majestic king of the Holy Legion, the man who brought trouble to the world, yet he doesn't even dare to show his face and can only hide in a turtle shell. He stroked the pen again and wrote the word broken. Bang! Explosions continued to sound on the surface of the sphere. It seemed like countless heavy knives were chopping the sphere. It's just that the sphere is too hard, and the substance with a destructive aura can continuously regenerate. No matter how hard Shen Heiran attacks, he can't break its defense. Shen Heiran was not in a hurry. He held the pen older and danced like dragons and phoenixes. Each big character is formed. At the same time, the huge eye in the sky appeared again, firmly locking the aura of the king. King Suzuka, give me the stuff. The king's voice sounded in the heart of King Suzuka. He wanted to save King Suzuka, but he was unable to do so. King Suzuka was trapped in the defense formation of Ryota Castle, and he did not dare to break in. Once he entered, there would be no return. You rescue me first, King Suzuka said. Give me the stuff first and I will save you. Stop drawing cakes for me. King Suzuka said angrily, I'm not one of those idiots from your Holy Legion. If you can't save me, don't take any of my things, and bury them all with me. Several fights. With Shen Heiran's obstruction, the king had no choice but to continue dragging him, and even he would end up here. The development of things was originally according to his plan. He had long known that the Blue Star Alliance had set up an ambush here, but he still had the confidence to break in, so he used the trick and almost got what he wanted. What he didn't expect was that the most critical step would be destroyed in his own hands. He underestimated King Suzuka. On the surface, King Suzuka was submissive and obedient to him, but in his heart, he did not obey him. I am afraid that King Suzuka has always put himself in the position of a collaborator, not his subordinate. This mentality is vividly displayed at this moment. At this point, the king has no choice but to do his best. King Suzuka, would you really rather let these things fall into the hands of the Dragon Kingdom than give them to me? The king said. If you don't rescue me, there's no need to talk about anything. In the moment of life and death, King Suzuka was not at all indifferent to the big king. Stupid thing. The king said coldly, take your things and bury them with you. Since you are a dog of the abyss, let them save you. I won't play with you anymore. Abandon plans. The king controlled the sphere of destruction to break out of the blockade and fled madly. Shen Heiran sighed. He still underestimated this king. Although he could barely defeat the king in a head-on duel, the opponent's turtle shell was too hard and could not be broken at all. If there were a few more demigods, there might be a chance. But that would be too costly. Otherwise, the Holy Legion would not be allowed to survive to this day. There has always been a delicate boundary between the two sides. Once the boundary is broken, it will be a life and death situation. Now is not the time to completely clean up the rebels. Looking at the figure of the rebel king fleeing into the distance, King Suzuka spat. His eyes turned downwards, and his body fell like a meteor. At this moment, Su Xian was watching the battle with great interest, admiring the style of the demigod who could turn mountains and seas with a wave of his hand. Suddenly, a strong sense of crisis hit his head from the solace of his feet. He saw the figure of King Suzuka falling like a meteor. When he reacted, King Suzuka was in front of him and punched him in the air. At that moment, Su Xian seemed to see millions of beasts rushing towards him, but he was as small as an ant in front of the huge beast. After all, his realm was too low, and being able to fight against Feng Hao was the limit. Facing Feng Wang, he had no ability to resist. Go! Fortunately, King Juling had been protecting Su Xian and blocked King Suzuka's attack first. The huge body of King Juling was instantly blown away. King Suzuka was still trying to kill Su Xian, but was suppressed by a word Zhen falling from the sky. Su Xian was still in shock. King Suzuka suddenly turned his target to him, probably because he destroyed the medium that connected the abyss to the blue star. The suppressed King Suzuka still stared at him. King Suzuka had completely transformed into a beast at this time, and purple light was constantly emitting from his body. The purple light broke through the space, King Suzuka's body exploded, and the abyss energy raged in all directions. Fix, Shen Heiran shouted softly, holding the pen and drawing a circle, forcibly circling the raging abyss energy at the center of the explosion. At the moment of the explosion, Su Xian saw a soul light flying out of King Suzuka's body. The soul light was also wrapped in 3 golden lights, and it escaped directly to other spaces. Want to escape? Now it's my turn. Being abused in the last second, reversed in the next second. Su Xian's eyes lit up. He had just suffered a loss and wanted to take revenge on the spot, so he naturally would not let go of such a good opportunity. Semi-god level forbidden technique. Soul Scalpel, Condense.